What is up, XFL Nation? Some breaking news is the USFL Enterprise. So here we go. We'll get right into it. So USFL Enterprises has locked in the trademark NSFL, National Spring Football League. So the trademark is secure. Also, our friends at XFL X Fan Show have had some interesting tidbits about emails to Dany Garcia and the Rock's XFL accounts bouncing back. Plus, the filing date for the National Spring Football League and NSFL was on the 22nd, and there are 22 variations. So what's looking like what's happening, those are your key points of what's going on. So what can we tell you? That the USFL entity that owns all of the trademarks, they have trademarked NSFL, National Spring Football League. So those are the two trademarks that they did. And there's 22 variations, t-shirts, broadcasting, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And that's fine. Maybe that was a speculation that the name might be NSFL. It seems just kind of generic and lame, not very exciting, but okay, that's fine. That happened. Then you also have this tidbit from last night from XFL X Fan Show, fan of their shows. They had talked about how they had emailed a bunch of people in the XFL, and in this particular instance, always went to Dany Garcia and The Rock. But in this instance, and you have to check out their show, Dany Garcia and The Rock's emails bounced. Why does that matter? Like, so what? Whatever the big deal? Well, that's exactly what happened when the XFL assistant coaches were let go. We were getting notifications from agents like, hey, I'm trying to message coaches and their emails are bouncing back. Do you know what's going on? And then 24 hours later, the reason was because they were let go. So that's why this is an important kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, the domain names like NSFL and the nsfl.com, they could be taken. I've looked at them before in the past. They could have already been purchased, and they're just, all you have to do is point an IP address to the new one, and then you're good to go. So there's nothing concrete when it comes to the domain names. And of course, they could also come up with a different variation, but that's kind of where the names go with the domains. But here is what the other thing that was kind of interesting is Dany Garcia had posted an image on her, and it can be interpreted many different ways. And this was, I don't even know what the date was on this, actually. It was on her Instagram post. There's a picture of her at the XFL Championship, which I was there. And she said, the photos from the XFL Champion Renegades remind me that one powerful decision, my dream and passion to guide the sport of football and own the XFL can unleash amazing moments for so many. This is true. Then she says, and leaves me inspired to ask what other powerful decisions can be made today. Is that powerful decision to step away from the XFL and let the USFL take over? So also, all of this could be a nothing burger. And this goes completely against what we were hearing. But then again, that could have been the XFL side of things. And also that, again, that could also be things could have potentially fallen apart. That was the structure that we were hearing. But again, with all of these legal documents and everything going on with Disney and ESPN, and basically, and also if you listen to our last episode about the Neil Stratton's thing about the 6 hubs with the USFL, fortunately, this situation kind of leads more credence to that story too. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes now? All the sources have gotten very tight-lipped, and no one's saying anything at this point. Then you have Doug Whaley and his Pittsburgh thing. Was that like leaving the XFL, or is he still there? I'm getting the sense that this is not going to turn out to be good. If the league is called NSFL and basically the USFL entity and Fox takes over and just kind of gets the XFL names and does the 6 hub thing, like, I mean, I enjoyed the USFL, but I know they're trying to save money to make money later. I'm just not feeling it. And it's just, this whole thing is like, I'm not feeling it. The Rock and Dany Garcia are out. I'm like, maybe you can get 2 years out of this thing. And remember, and it was declining, and they can blame it on the fact that because the XFL was also playing at the same time, but and you might blame it for the restructuring or whatever. The only thing, the saving grace, and kind of makes sense, is that Fox. So Disney's trying to get rid of ABC, and ESPN is kind of doing its own thing. So the XFL might have lost leverage because Disney and ABC are kind of out of the mix, because they just kind of Disney wants out, and they want to sell it with not any kind of strings attached. But you could still do a year. I mean, it's going to take a long time for this kind of stuff to go through. But let's say if that partnership is kind of dissolved, Fox isn't going anywhere. Latkin Murdoch just took over for Rupert Murdoch. So they're never going to look to sell Fox TV or Fox News. So they're in it for the long haul. And the only thing that gets eyeballs on the product on these stations is not these, crappy reality TV shows. I mean, you've seen some of the just the level of garbage on these networks because they don't have the money to do it because they're not getting the eyeballs. The only thing is their saving grace is football and live sports. So it would make sense that the USFL and Fox are in it for the long haul because that's tied to their television station and they need that live sports. And if they can own the live sports, that makes them more in better position so they don't have to sell, buy rights like from the NFL. And who knows what's going on behind the scenes with ESPN and the NFL and streaming services. So this would make sense for a strategic move for the USFL to absorb the XFL because at least for the long haul, for the next 5 years, they need this content. So, and if you own the content, then you don't have to pay for it. It's also expensive too. So who knows what's going on there. So that's kind of where we're at with this NSFL. Again, news could be breaking. The XFL is supposed to have a draft on October 4th, and there's another showcase on the 7th and another one on the 14th, I believe. They have things going on, but just stay tuned to XFL News Hub. Stay tuned for this channel. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell when news is breaking. But this is definitely an interesting story. And before I was kind of in the pivot of the XFL kind of a 50-50 partnership, which was what the Axios article said. Now I'm seeing maybe that like all the players on the XFL side are like, we're out. And this whole like email going away, you just forward that to somebody else. And the fact that those are bouncing now is just not a good sign for the XFL side of things. And then you're going to have coaches pissed off. I mean, these were promises that were made. Redbird Capital, they out. Like, it's looking like this potentially could be kind of a mess. We kind of think, like, okay, this is feeling positive. Now this is kind of like, really, the NSFL is kind of boring. Were they going to just do red, white, and blue NSFL logo? And that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So stay tuned to the XFL News Hub for more on this story and any kind of breaking news. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.